I'm Kelly Masigi, and I'm with the Career Center, and it is my honor to welcome Reggie Waterman, who can be summed up in one word: resilient. As a director of product marketing at 360 Insights and founder of his own marketing agency called Expressive, Reggie leverages his gift of connecting with people to help them realize their true potential and build their personal brand. He has accumulated 15 years of marketing experience across various industries and companies that consisted of a lot of twists and turns. In 2019, Reggie developed a program called Open Concept, where he discovered a gap when it comes to the post-grad journey, the stuff that nobody tells you. And he has made it his mission to close that gap by providing students with a winning formula to ensure career success post-graduation. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Reggie decided to facilitate a Zoom series called Discover Your Other Self to provide inspiration and help people overcome life's challenges, especially during these abnormal times. A devoted father of 2 kids, avid traveler, a self-proclaimed CrossFit athlete that can deadlift 410 pounds, we'll make you demonstrate that later, and human Google among various generations, Reggie plans to ride that wave of resiliency by helping others achieve their goals. So let's all welcome Reggie Waterman.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for the nice introduction. So I appreciate you all. And you usually see this slide at the end of every presentation that you probably saw this afternoon or this morning. But I am a little bit different. I like to put my thank yous at the beginning because it's something that I practice, which is gratitude. On a daily basis, I indicate 3 things that I'm grateful for each day because it just fills up my cup. And I want to encourage all of you, if you want, and it's totally up to you, if you want to unmute yourself at any time, if you have a question, feel free to ask me those questions, because I like to make this super engaging and interactive as well. And if you want, you could also show your face. Again, totally up to you. You don't have to. But what I'm going to add, oh, Yukino, did I pronounce your name right? I hope I did. Yes. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. She's showing her face. All right, cool. All right, so, and Rebecca, yes, I love this. See, this is how we're gonna get to know each other. Yes, Ariel, there we go. All right, so the first question I'm gonna ask everybody here, and I want you to put it in the chat box. What are you grateful for today? So put that in the chat box, please, if you will. And I want to encourage all of you to start practicing gratitude, because it's something that will definitely help you when it comes to, manifesting your desires, your dreams and everything like that. And it's about paying it forward and just showing appreciation. So cool. We got Andrew being able to go to college. That's awesome. Okay. Rebecca, I'm grateful for support networks. Amazing. Kelly, adaptability and teamwork. Cool. Nancy, a new dog. Buddy, big shout out to Buddy. All right. Ariel's grateful for an awesome school giving us these inspiring opportunities. Yes. And Dixon, yes, my family. Again, I am so honored and grateful for Kelly and Anita for opening up their virtual doors to have me present to you designing your X Factor. So I'm going to talk to you about how to build your personal brand. Also, I'm going to be talking to you about what's not in a textbook. And the reason why I've developed this presentation is because obviously I was once a student, believe it or not, right? But I was once a student, and transitioning into the corporate world was difficult. Nobody told me about the bad boss. I thought every boss was great, but nobody told me, but I've encountered some bad bosses in my career. Nobody told me how to effectively network, right? So these are things that I want to teach you so that you could prepare yourself to succeed post-graduation. So what's not in a textbook? Just gonna get my screen working. So as I mentioned, how to effectively network, which is how to build relationships, real relationships. And what I mean by that is throughout the course of your career, you're gonna want to establish those relationships early so that they can open up doors for you for potential opportunities, because not every opportunity that's available on Indeed, as an example, or LinkedIn is actually present there. There's something called a hidden job market. And once you tap into your network, they can give you visibility to those opportunities. So it's all about building relationships. Now, COVID-19 presented a lot of hardships and challenges for the marketplace in terms of layoffs, right? This is a reality, and I want you guys to be cognizant of the fact that organizations are impacted because they always have to manage operational expenses. And if they're not hitting budgets, then they have to make some tough decisions. So we need to be cognizant of layoffs and cutbacks, how to manage up. And you're probably like, okay, what does that mean? Do I just look up at my manager? No, it actually means level setting the expectation, being proactive, letting your boss or leader know that you may or may not be able to actually hit a specific deadline. Having, you being able to be proactive and taking initiative shows your value. So I want to teach you that as well. Ranking systems. There's performance reviews, just like your report card that you get in school. Every organization is managing your performance, and it's important that you want to be a high performer versus an average employee or a low performing employee, because that is going to determine how much money you get, the promotions and opportunities that are put forward. And then, as I mentioned, how to deal with a bad boss. Now, there's something said about people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses, and that's definitely true. So I want to give you the tips and tricks on how to do that. And this is what this program is designed to do. The power of LinkedIn. It's an extremely powerful tool, and I've seen it, especially during COVID-19, the type of relationships that you can establish, you can build, and the doors that it opens for you. How to stand out. Within this competitive marketplace, we're talking about ways that you can separate yourself from the competition. Yes, you're going to have a lot of friends, going through school, but at the same time, your friends could be your competition as well, right? Especially if you are going for the same job. So you got to figure out ways that's going to differentiate yourself from your peers and other people. And then, of course, how to crush your interview. That's all part of standing out. And then ATS. So I don't know if any of you have heard of ATS systems, but it's an application tracking software. And what it does is whenever you submit your resume, well, there's systems in place to actually match up the job description with your qualifications on your resume. So you want to be sure to tailor your resume to every single job opportunity that you apply for, because the ATS systems on the back end is going to marry that up and then filter your resume to be on that short list. Financial literacy. How do you get a mortgage? Like, mortgages are scary. Like, you don't understand the stacks of paper it takes when you actually have to sign your life away when you get a house. I'm not going to teach that to you today, but these are things that are not in the textbook, right? And the commute. Things are obviously different right now. We're all working from home, but once things go back to normal, there'll be a subset of jobs that you have to go into work. And the commute, depending on how long it would take you to get to work, could add stress to your life. Listen, I'm not a marriage counselor or relationship counselor. I'm not going to pretend like I am, but these are things that you need to be cognizant of. Your partner, the person that you marry, the relationships, the kids, right? Because these could all create impacts on your well-being. And paying your dues. Paying your dues is all about putting in the work, doing the grunt work that nobody really wants to do. But you have to put in the time, the effort in order to showcase value. So why am I here? I'm part of a micro generation called Xennials. So this is a micro generation that was born between 1977 and 1983. Don't do the math, please. I know you guys are all smart, right? Don't do the reverse math. Rebecca, I see you're doing the math right now. Don't do it, please, to figure out my age. I don't want you to do that. But I am here because I understand the older generation. I understand their expectations. I know what their needs are. I'm here as the Google translator to make sure that I pass along the message to the younger generation so that they could be successful at the end of the day. And that's why I'm here. Now, a little bit about me, and Kelly kind of gave you, she gave you my bio. So, father of 2 kids. I love CrossFit. I'm from Toronto, Toronto, Canada. So I love the Raptors, right? There's a picture of Kawhi at the free throw line. I'm still crying about how he left us just like that and went back to Cali. And you guys are from Cali. You guys stole my buddy. But I'm still trying to get over it, sorry. And then I work at a company called 360 Insights. So as a product marketing director. I also mentioned, as Kelly mentioned, I host my own series called Discover Your Other Self. I'm going to give you more information on that because I would love you guys to join, which I do every Thursday. I had a chance to meet Shaq this year in particular. I was part of a talent agency, and I have a new appreciation for actors because I get rejected over and over and over again. But I love the rejection. I know you may say it like I'm weird that I love it, but the more you fail, the more no's you get in life, the better it prepares you for that one break, because it just, all you need is that one opportunity to showcase your value and demonstrate what you could actually bring to the table. I also host a podcast called Pod About Nothing as well. So that's bottom right hand corner. So what you're going to learn today is generational myths, career mapping, right? Because you have to plan out your career. I never did, and this is why I want to give you the tools. And then about creating your X factor, and we'll get into the definition of what the X factor means for me, and I wanted to resonate with you. And then we'll briefly talk about the power of LinkedIn. And then I have a challenge for you. So generational myths. These are the different generations, as you can see. So on the far left, you see Generation Z, and I would have to assume that majority of you fall into that category, right? So you are the future leaders of tomorrow. You truly are. There's millennials, right? And you can learn a lot from the millennials too, because there's a lot of misconceptions about how they operate in a corporate function. And then there's the Gen X, which is obviously older generation, that are they're more in your executive level positions, right? Director positions, senior management levels. So this is where we have to level set on the expectations so that you could succeed. And as you can see on the chart on the right, these are the misconceptions from the millennials. And I want you to be cognizant of a couple of key value points here. Now, millennials, 65% of them describe themselves as people savvy, but HR professionals, they perceive millennials to only be 14% people savvy. So what that means is that there's this misconception of, well, millennials always being on their phone. They don't really have the people skills. They don't have the social capital to really engage in conversation. So what I'm here to do is help you learn from the millennials, because I think you guys are smarter. You guys, grew up with the internet. You guys grew up with social media. You guys are digital natives by nature. So you guys could really be super savvy, especially when it comes to engaging people. 82% of millennials say that they're loyal to their employers, while only a minor 1% of employers say that millennials are loyal to their employer. And that's just because they look at the turnover. If you think about the older generation, they would stay in one job for like 10 to 20 plus years, right? That's not the case anymore. Millennials, what they did is they would stay in a job 2 to 3 years, tops, and they would move around to a different job because they really want to make an impact. But for you guys, things are changing within the landscape, and I think there's an opportunity for us to kind of close that gap. And one more stat, and I know I didn't go through all of them because, I want to be cognizant of time, but 86% of millennials say that they're hardworking, but then HR professionals say that they only perceive millennials to be 11% productive in terms of their workload, in terms of their productivity. So again, we want to figure out how to bridge that gap. Now, this is the typical student life cycle. This is pre-COVID because obviously there's no social distancing in this GIF, right? But this is what you guys were doing, always on your phone, just really excited about life. Then you get to a point of graduation, you're like, I did it. I'm confident. I'm ready for this. I was built for this, right? And then you get into the job, you're just like, hold on. What they taught me in school doesn't really add up to what they're asking of me on my day-to-day. And you're a bit confused, right? So it's really important that we talk about personal branding. It's important that we talk about your career map. It's important we talk about how to build relationships, okay? Let's see what we got next. So career mapping. This picture here described my entire career. It was all over the place. Nobody really set the stage, and there's no formula for me in terms of a structure on how to properly manage my career. So as a result, I would go from job to job. I actually used to work at a telecommunications company called Rogers. I left that company twice. What I mean by twice, I was there for 5 years. At the 5 year mark, I left. I went to a different organization for 6 months. I hated my life because the culture was horrible. I went back to Rogers. And then the competition, which was Bell Canada, asked me to, they knocked on the door and said, hey, we have an opportunity for you. Do you want to come work for us? So I left Rogers again. But the only reason why I kept on going back is because I still maintained my relationship with my previous boss. And like I said, it's important to maintain these relationships. So when it comes to designing your career, it's important to have a roadmap. And this is the structure for it. You want to have at least a 3-year plan, okay? And the 10,000-foot view is you're looking way down at your lifestyle within the course of 3 years. And for each year, you're gonna have 3 to 5 goals per year. It could be, I wanna get a promotion. It could be, I wanna, learn a new skill, right? I wanna take that course. But when it comes to goal setting, you wanna think big, and you also wanna visualize that. But at the same time, you are going to have a 9 to 5, but you can't forget about what excites you. You always want to have a passion project. And there's nothing wrong with having what we call in the industry a side hustle. And I know you guys probably heard about that. A side hustle for me, for example, is a podcast. It's a marketing agency. It's doing the LinkedIn Live events, because that's what fuels me. I have a 9 to 5, which pays the bills, but I also want to be excited about all these other things because I know I'm just not one-dimensional. When it comes to heart set and rituals, you also want to build up your mindset. What that means, it's what are your morning routines? Are you meditating? Are you doing daily affirmations? These are all important in order to realize your goals. And you want to be able to share this career roadmap with your leader, because a lot of people expect that their leader is actually going to be designing this career development plan for them, which is not the case in the real world. You got to take the onus is on you to develop that. So when it comes to creating your X factor, can anybody guess, and you could unmute yourself, what do I mean by X factor? Or you could put in the chat. Who's going to be brave? I may call on somebody.
Is it your brand, like your personal brand?
Yeah.
Like how you come off, like what you value, your personality traits?
Yes, your personality traits, exactly. And sorry, who was that? I'm trying to make that out. What's your name?
Pooja.
Sorry?
Pooja?
Pooja?
Yeah.
Thank you for participating, Pooja. You're absolutely right. It's what, it's your personal brand and how you stand out. And I'm seeing in the chat too. Ariel says, what makes you unique? Maria says, special, sellable qualities. You guys are absolutely right. You're going to need those in order to get ahead. Here's my definition, okay? And this is just me. But, my definition is X factor is a unique set of skills, attributes, and swag, aka je ne sais quoi. And I'm from Canada, so we have, I could be French Canadian, and I'm not really that great at French, but it's what differentiates you from everybody else. It's your superpower that you utilize for the sake of building a connection, appeal, and impressions. Think about, everybody knows this symbol, Nike. Their products allow them to differentiate themselves as well as their marketing. When it comes to their marketing, they have an emotional appeal. They build a connection with the end user, which is the customer. They also leverage endorsements from athletes to showcase the performance that you could attain if you bought these pair of shoes. So for your X factor, you want to figure out what your value proposition is, what makes you unique, what makes you special, as you guys mentioned in the chat box. But it also starts with you, right? You have to unknow yourself to get to know yourself. And you're probably like, what is he saying? Like, Kelly, Anita, why did you guys bring this guy? He's saying, I got to unknow myself to get to know myself. I already know myself. No, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that you have to shed away the programming the past experiences that you've had, because there's somebody that's deep inside of you that is screaming to come out, in the sense that I want to be the best person that I could be. I want to be a superior marketer. My brand is all about servicing people, helping people, right? So you really have to get to know your true nature. Your parents may have an idea of who you should be, but in your hearts of hearts, you know who you are. And when I say by being the director of your own movie, like a Netflix docuseries, you got to determine how the beginning starts and how your happy ending ends, right? So when you visualize and you meditate and you figure out, okay, well, I have a goal to, let's just say, own my own business or become a VP. In your mind, you have to visualize that and set goals, meet the right people, network, so that you could attain that. When it comes to taking massive action, what I mean by it is goals are one thing, but if you're not executing, if you are not creating content on LinkedIn, if you are not stepping out of your comfort zone, you're just going to be going through the motions of your day-to-day job, and you're more than that. So your DNA, so this is, everyone has a unique fingerprint, right? When you think about the unique gifts that you have, nobody has the same DNA. So that means that you have a unique gift inside of you. So you have to utilize that. In terms of the personal branding framework, I have a methodology which is called TIME, which equals this is me. I would love to connect with you to give you more information about that. But what it is, it's a matrix that talks about what are my what's my superpower, what are my goals, what does my life look like from a year from now, what do I not want to do. This 4-quadrant matrix really helps you set the tone in terms of building your personal brand. When we talk about building a connection, we talk about the relationships, we talk about the networks. When we talk about brand story, it's about the value proposition. So how can you articulate to the marketplace that, what your superpower is and what it could do for that company? And then again, your X factor. What value? How can you implement that value? Do you have any results that value can actually be translated to that hiring manager? Let's just say you were able to, increase revenue from your previous company by $500,000, right? That's something that you'd put on your resume, but you'd also state that in your talk track. So how do I create my X factor? Well, you could do it in a number of ways. It's about getting experience. You could take on a paid internship or an unpaid internship. Skill stack. Whatever you're learning in school is great, but there's also other skills that you could learn outside of school. And there's obviously a lot of online courses that you could take as well that you could add to your resume or your utility belt of skills. Now, this is powerful too. They say fake it till you make it. We're not saying that anymore. This is 2020. We don't say that. We're not saying this going forward. But don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become. If you want to be a certain somebody, you have to learn. Learning is an ongoing process in life that you have to maintain. And one key thing that I want to leave with you as well is if you find a need and fill it. What that means is being proactive. If you see a gap in a particular organization, like I'll give you an example. At 360, when we went through a reorg, I knew that we were losing people on our team. We went down from a team of 7 to a team of 3. So I built a strategy and a plan, and I said to my boss, hey, here's the plan. This is what we need to do to fill in these gaps. Here's the priorities. And he appreciated that. He sees value in me because now I came to the table with that plan, as opposed to being an average employee by how are we going to move forward? Always be curious. Be curious leads to creating content, and it could be in a form of, thought leadership. And you could do that on LinkedIn, but it also means being innovative. When you're curious, when you ask questions, when you, when you assess opportunities within an organization and there might be gaps, well, how can we make things better? How do we close that gap? And then it's all about making an impact. So in terms of networking, here's the formula. Here's how to build relationships. Take massive action, do it often, multiply, meaning do it with multiple people. And even though this is COVID-19, we could still do it virtual. So you could have virtual coffees. Yes, you can. Add value. Don't ask the person that you're building a relationship what they could do for you. You tell them what you want to do for them. Help them. Because once you start paying it forward, it always comes back to you. Follow up. You know, people are busy these days. So if you might send a DM to somebody on LinkedIn and they don't answer you, well, you could always follow up with them a week or two after that. And don't ever stop. It doesn't stop. I'm at a level that I'm at in my career, but I don't stop networking. And that's why I do it on a weekly basis. I want you guys to take a picture of this real quick because I know we're running out of time, but I would love you to encourage you to actually take this course. It's awesome. The Jordan Harbinger 6-minute networking course. It will teach you everything you need to know about networking, and it's free. So if you could take a picture of that and you could try it out on your own time, that would be awesome. So we only have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to try to fly through this, but the power of LinkedIn. So this is what happens to you when you fully maximize and utilize this tool. Think about it by the numbers. There's 660 million members worldwide, massive. 87 million are millennials. 11 out of the 87 million are millennials in decision-making positions, because now they're growing up. A lot of them are actually, there's a huge subset of them actually in executive level positions, right? So they have that leadership role. You could build, think about the impressions of building content on this platform. 9 billion impressions are made per week on that LinkedIn feed. And then 3 million out of the 660 million plus members, they share content on a weekly basis. Do you see that gap? 3 million out of 660 million. Yes, these are big numbers, but when you scale that out, not a lot of people are creating content. And this is what we're doing in Canada versus the US. We are very conservative in Canada. We used LinkedIn as a mechanism to build an online resume. But what I've seen with a lot of people in the States is that they create content. The pictures that you'll see is on the top right-hand corner are, this is Pedro, and he's actually tagged all these people in blue on a post that he posted, just to kind of create discussion. He'll ask a question, but it's a means to create a connection. For example, on the bottom right-hand corner is Marcello, and he has his own, he's got multiple shows. He's got coffee with Cello, he's got drinks with Cello, he also has linked lunch. So you could become your own, you could create your own show. I created my own show, and I do that on a weekly basis, right? Every Thursday. But fully maximize this platform to create content, to build engagement, to build relationships. So speaking of LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, right? Reggie Waterman. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Take massive action. And I would love to encourage you guys to tune in to Discover Your Other Self, which AKA DYOS, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be 4 o'clock your time on LinkedIn Live. I bring in a number of different guests, and we talk about personal branding. We talk about how to overcome challenges. So here's one thing that I would leave with you. If you are brave, take a picture of this. But here's the XFactor challenge. For you to stand out, the important thing for you to do is do things that other people won't do. Take a picture of this, and I'm going to stop sharing, but take a picture of the grid once I stop sharing. Tag me in a post, but in the post, in the body of it, I want you to say, I'm excited. And I want you to state what you're excited about. And it could be about, you're excited to buy all the things that you learned throughout the day, because I could imagine the value that you got from attending this conference today. It's a huge opportunity for you. And at the end, put hashtag XFactor and hashtag personal branding. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So if you can take a picture of the grid, and I will give you 15 seconds, because I know you guys got to get going. All right. This is awesome. And you know what? Listen, I want to be part of this challenge too, so I'll do this too. I can't just have you guys do this. I'm trying to stand out too. Okay, so Serena, quick question. How do I do virtual coffee chats? So simple. I just if I want to set up a time with somebody, I simply, if somebody is intriguing enough by their content that they'll produce, I just simply reach out to them. I reach out to a number of different people on LinkedIn, and I've built some amazing relationships that have given me tremendous opportunities. So you just got to do it. Don't let fear hold you back, because you will be missing out on opportunities if you do.
Reggie, can I ask a quick follow-up on that? I know we
Yep.
went a little over time, but just a quick nugget there. So when you are reaching out though, can you give a little insight into like how your approach to introduction? You're not just sending a cold connection request, right?
Correct. And I'm glad you brought that up, Anita. So when it comes to establishing a connection with somebody, you want to be able to personalize that invite, because there is that feature there. You don't just want to hit the connect button and that's it. You want to have something in common with that person. So a trick, here's what I do. There are a number of different influencers on LinkedIn, such as Gary V. And Gary Vaynerchuk. So if he's posted something, there's a number of different people that comment on that post. Let's just say Bob has liked or commented on that post. I actually go through the comments. I could find Bob, he's commented. I click Bob, I click personalize, and I say, hey, Bob, I just realized that we like consuming this similar content, such as Gary V. I would love to connect with you. 10 out of 10, because you've built that connection, you've personalized it, and you have something in common, which is Gary V in that case, they'll connect with you. Everybody wants to connect. And then after they accept that connection, I then follow up with another message saying, thank you for accepting my connection, wondering if you'd be open to having a virtual chat. If you can send me your email, I'll set up a time, I'll send out an invite, away we go.
And I will mention that there are over 250,000 SJSU alum on LinkedIn, so you can start there with building connections, because likely there's going to be some kind of SJSU alum that's working for a company that you want to get connected with, or certainly has your same major, so you can talk to them about, you know, how to do the transition from college to career, all of those things.
So Kelly, 250,000?
Yes.
Wow, so I'm expecting all of you to have 250,000 connections by next week.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Kelly. Thank you for raising that.
That's challenge number 2, guys. So if you want
You're right. How many SJSU alums can you connect with in the next week?
Exactly. So it was a pleasure. I know you guys have to go and I'm running over time, but I want to thank you guys again for your time. Thank you for your participation and your engagement. And I, wish you the very best. If you want to reach out, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to have virtual coffee, I'm open for discussion as well. So I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was so inspiring.
No problem.
Thanks, Reggie.
All right. Take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a great weekend.